Good morning. My name is Dan Tymann, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I would like to introduce my wife, Andrea, who's here, and also mention my daughter, Sarah, who's an '08 grad, because any story of mine is really a story of ours. My favorite verse growing up, and really through my whole life, has been Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. My whole life I've seen how the Lord has worked this, and just in amazing ways. And certainly, I give him all the glory for the different things that happened, through my high school years and college at Tufts University, where I graduated with an engineering degree, and then starting at AT&T as an engineer. And I had an 18-year career at AT&T. AT&T later became Lucent Technologies, but I was working at the same location. And I really looked at my life and I thought, wow, Lord, things really have worked for good. I have a beautiful wife and a wonderful marriage and a really precious daughter and wonderful family. At 39 years old, which is 11 years ago, I was in a key position. I actually was asked to run the largest business in AT&T manufacturing, a $2 billion a year operation of optical networking products, which were the latest technology. So as an engineer, I was working on the top technology. As a businessman, I was working, really in a key business. I had 1,500 people working for me worldwide. And my boss had told me that, really within a couple of years, I'd be in line for what had always been my dream job, which was to be the plant manager. That's the person who would run the whole factory. It was a factory in North Andover, Massachusetts, a factory of 5,000 people. And so I thought, wow, I'm not, but with my early 40s, I will have made my career. I'll, be in my dream position. But with all those responsibilities certainly came pressure. In late 1999, the nature of the pressure really changed. We had always been really pushed aggressively for shipping more products, shipping them more quickly, improving the quality, cutting the costs, just meeting customer demands over and over. But with the onset of the growth of the dot-com industry and real pressure for around the world, really, people wanting more bandwidth because of the uses on the internet, the products that we made, which basically were all the high-capacity fiber infrastructure that allowed for really all the telecommunications and internet that we have today travels over these fibers driven by lasers and receivers on the other end, that there just was tremendous pressure from our marketing team, our sales team, even Wall Street. The stock price of Lucent was really based on what my product line delivered each month and each quarter. And so the questions started to change. I started to get questions like, do you really have to follow the long testing processes that you do and the qualification processes? Are you sure you're not testing products to too stringent requirements? Are they really necessary? Can you use substitute parts that we can get in more quickly that maybe are lower quality, but the product will still work rather than waiting for the parts that are on delay? Can't you run your factory on Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving? Do the employees really need those days off? Those are questions that were hard, but honestly, in my position, I had to really consider those, work with my team, and really say, with integrity, could we make some of these changes and meet this growing demand? And in many ways, we were able to, and I felt comfortable doing that. But then the questions got even tougher. As the pressure just mounted and as the demand for more and more success just built up, started to be asked things like, can you shorten or actually eliminate your final testing? Do you really need to do that testing at all? Are you sure the products that you've said are defective really are defective? Maybe if we retest them and package them right, we can send them to customers. And if they don't work, the customers will send them back, but we can still get the benefit of the revenue and show the progress that we're making in terms of shipments. Questions like, do your employees really have to have a day off at all? Can they work 3 to 6 months, 7 days a week without any time off? Hard to believe, but that was really the way that the business was being run. I started to really wrestle with these kinds of questions and the directives that I was being given or the way I was being asked to lead. I knew as a Christian that I couldn't say yes to many of these things, that it was not the way I should be treating my employees, my customers, and it was a real challenge to my integrity. But I had on the offsetting, well, wait a minute, but I'm in a key position. I'm the next person in charge. Maybe if I do these things, I'll be put in charge, and then I can change the practices. But it was clear those were not, that I couldn't go in that direction. I had to start saying no to some of these things. Well, as you can imagine, that wasn't received very well. They started telling me I wasn't a team player. I was too soft on my employees. I didn't understand our customers or the business that we are in now. The business models have changed, and I need to get up with the times. My boss even started to hold meetings with my employees without my knowledge. And I would come into work, and I'd find that there were meetings going on where he was directing them to do the things that I wouldn't direct them to do. It was really clear to me that it was made clear to me that I need an attitude adjustment if I was going to be successful and if I was going to become the next plant manager. On a weekend in early February 2000, I was praying, and I just said, Lord, I know I can't compromise my integrity and lead as they're demanding that I do. I mean, I loved the work that I did. I loved the company that I worked with and the people I worked with. But I said, I don't know what my other job options are. I mean, at 21 years old, I started as an engineer with this company, worked my way up through the company. The Lord gave me all kinds of opportunities, but I had never completed a master's degree because I was always so busy working on the next project. And I really wondered if my success was really because of a knowledge of one company, one set of products, and would that translate to anything else? Well, that next day, this was a Saturday in February, on Sunday, I was reading the Boston Globe, and I thought, well, I should start looking at the business section because I didn't even know how to apply for a job. I'd never applied for a job. I'd always worked 18 years at the same company. And there was an article in there in the business section about Cisco Systems, which was a fairly new company, really strong on the internet, and they were starting to get into optical networking. They saw that as the next set of products they wanted to go into. And they were talking about Cisco potentially opening a design and manufacturing facility on the East Coast. Now, that's amazing, Lord. I said, that would just be perfect for, it's just what I do now. Cisco is a great company. But I said, I have no idea. How would you even begin to, apply for something like that, or would I even qualify? Well, the Lord had a very quick answer. That Tuesday, my phone rang at home when I got home from work, and it was a gentleman. He said, is this Dan Tymann? I said, yes. He said, well, my name's Don Render. I'm a headhunter for Cisco Systems, and I'm looking for someone to be the plant manager for the new factory that they're building in New England. And he had heard, someone had given my name from somebody else, and I thought, Lord, this is just amazing. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. Well, I applied for the job. I flew out to San Jose, which is where the headquarters are. They offered me the job. I accepted, and I started 2 weeks later. So if I think back on the scripture, well, that all worked for good. I mean, it was a difficult situation, and it worked for good. And in some ways, you could say, well, I could sit down now, the story's over. But really, it goes on from there. I won't get into all the details, but just to give you a quick sketch of the next few years. So I did start at Cisco. I became the plant manager. I even got to pick and buy the factory, and we bought a facility in Salem, New Hampshire, a million square foot factory in Salem, New Hampshire. I started hiring 5,000 people. We started to move products in from other locations, and we were working towards a $4 billion business in that factory. It was a lot of fun, really exciting. I was there about a month, and I got a phone call from the Boston Globe asking me if I would comment on the fact that Lucent was suing me personally for stealing trade secrets unethically hiring employees from their company. I didn't know what to say. I had no idea that any of this was going on. But in fact, they did sue me. I was in court for 2 years. In 2001, 2002, a year and a half later, the dot-com industry crashed. And all of a sudden, the products that we were selling were not in great demand anymore. And so I was asked to close the factory in Salem, New Hampshire, which I did over the next year or so. The lawsuit with Lucent ended up ending. They lost the lawsuit. They had to pay me actually a financial settlement and publicly apologize for making a false public attack on my integrity. But here I am now thinking, all right, Lord, what do I do next? Cisco Cisco was very gracious in saying they wanted to find me another job within the company. It would probably be in San Jose, California, or in Milan, Italy. But in the meantime, yeah. The problem is the Red Sox don't play in either of those places, so. And so, while we were sort of working through that, they asked me to take on 2 temporary assignments. One was to work for the Museum of Science in Boston as a traveling executive, helping them implement some Cisco technology. And the other was running the East Coast philanthropy. Cisco gives away a lot of equipment to nonprofits, and so working with nonprofits to grant Cisco equipment to them. And so I did that for 6 to 9 months. What was so amazing is as I was doing this work, I said, I love this work with nonprofits. I mean, I had been on some boards before, but really it was great to be able to work for these nonprofits. And so it started to strike me that, maybe my dream job isn't plant manager or another manufacturing executive job, but it's really being executive in a nonprofit. And I thought, I really want to work in a Christian nonprofit and really use my technical and leadership skills, for Christ's direct purpose. And so I went back to, after the 6 to 9 months, I did work for a little while traveling out to San Jose. But then I really thought, no, I need to really trust the Lord for something different. And it's a long story, and so I'll just mention it very quickly. But through a friendship with President Carlberg, I was able to have a conversation with him about making a change like this. And it turned out that there was an opportunity here at Gordon. And that led to the role I'm in now, which is now Executive Vice President. I'm just really blessed to be here, and the relationships and the work that I'm doing is really so fulfilling and invaluable to me, and I really pray honors the Lord as well. But as I shared earlier, I continue to really learn what it means to the Romans 8 verse. It works together for good. It doesn't always mean that it works together what I'm thinking is my good. His good is greater. Because the key is really it's for his purpose. So what's his purpose in the good that happens in my life? My role is to love him and serve him, to love others, to follow Christ, and really in the power of the Holy Spirit. As I stand here now and I consider the tremendous need for Christ's love in this country and around the world, when we made a collection for Haiti earlier, places like the Sudan, I have to admit, I start to think, his purpose is probably not a destination, but it's really a journey. And so as I look at my life, I really believe that in his time, there's another step in this journey in terms of what he would have me do and my wife do, us do as a family. And in the meantime, I'm just thrilled to be here at Gordon. And I know that he has the same plan for your life, and I just trust that you know that as well. Thank you.